Quran itself and this whole science, it's an art. The science of tajweed is an artistic science, my brothers and sisters, of melody. The Prophet ﷺ said, read the Quran in a beautiful manner. Zayyinu aswatakum. Many different ways the Prophet ﷺ said that beautify your recitation of the Holy Quran. And in the Taraweeh, which Taraweeh do we like to go to? The one which is more melodious, isn't it? Why? Because you see, we are attracted, and naturally as human beings, we are attracted to melody and sound. So that's why those people who say that there is no space for melody in Islam, the reality is Allah Ta'ala hasn't given. They are devoid and their hearts, and they are void of beauty within themselves. To the extent where they look at everything negatively and they say that everything is not allowed, only nothing is allowed. They are void of beauty. Because melody exists, and the Prophet ﷺ told us, he commanded us to be melodious with the Quran. Because if we don't be melodious with the Quran, people won't come and listen to the Quran. But if we be melodious with the Quran, everyone wants to listen to the Quran. So there is a wujud, there is a presence of melody, of artistry in Islam. Islam is beautiful. In fact, the amount of how much Islam has contributed to art by itself is tremendous, it's absolutely tremendous. You know, go to Istanbul, go to Topkapi Palace, go to the museums around the world, go to the Arab, go to Pakistan, go throughout the Muslim world, and look at the contribution that Muslims gave to the industry of art, to the science of art. But look, this is how, you know, we value art. You know, unfortunately, sadly, you know, someone who just came and who just came from singing the praise of the Prophet ﷺ, and we find in the authentic narration of the Prophet ﷺ that the Prophet ﷺ, he used to gift his scarves to those who used to praise him ﷺ. And on that note, it is sunnah to gift the one who praises the Prophet ﷺ. This is no bid'ah. Yes, the way you do it should be done in a humble way, but it's sunnah to gift the one who praises the Prophet ﷺ. It's the sunnah. The Prophet used to gift those who used to praise him. He's coming, or he was going to the studio, and someone, you know, comes. Why? Because they said he committed blasphemy. So there's lots of rigidness, my brothers and sisters. I mean, in the month of Ramadan, where you're not even allowed to be having any negativity whatsoever, and yet still, you know, the blood seems to be dripping on the streets and pouring down the streets like streams, my brothers and sisters. How sad is this? And what are we to do in the world right now? I mean, what can we do? Obviously, we live in a country where, thanks to Allah Almighty, we are in a state of peace. How fortunate are we? But what can we do? What do we need to do? What needs to be done, my brothers and sisters, is we need to have the correct understanding of Islam. We need to understand that the Quran is an art. The Quran can be recited melodiously. We need to understand, and we need to be able to prove academically that there's nothing wrong in singing songs in praise of Allah and His Prophet ﷺ. Academically, we need to prove these things. And we need to show the beauty and the artistry of our very religion that we practice. We need to display the beauty of our religion. And the most positive way we can distribute the beauty of our religion is through our akhlaq. It's through our own character. Because our character will literally speak for ourselves. And the month of Ramadan, my brothers and sisters, yes, towards the end I will talk about how we need to be maximizing on these days and nights. But the reality is, my brothers and sisters, today is going to be the 20th Taraweeh, inshallah, the 20th Taraweeh. And after 19 Taraweeh and 18 fasts, if there is no improvement in our akhlaq, then there are serious issues with us. We have serious issues. If we still have grudges in our hearts, if we still can't say salam to our brothers and our cousins and our Muslim brothers and our brothers in humanity, our brothers in faith, then we have serious issues. Then maybe we should stop singing. Maybe we should stop singing and talking about how much we love the Prophet ﷺ. And maybe we should start really working on ourselves. Because this is a month where we work on ourselves, my brothers and sisters. It's a month of self-discipline. It's a month of self-development, my brothers and sisters. This is the month of Ramadan, a month of self-discipline and self-development. So now more than ever, my brothers and sisters, there is a need of correct understanding of the deen. We can no longer just say that we do this and we follow this and we do these things just because our forefathers used to do these things. We need to have evidences, we need to have dialogue, we need to be able to prove within the Muslim spectrum that artistry exists in Islam. We need to train our children from a young age to sing the praises of Allah and His Prophet ﷺ. And if there are schools out there that don't promote artistry, Islamic artistry, why are you wasting your money and sending them there? We need to build schools. We need to build schools that train our children to recite these things. This is the reality. Because going to an Islamic school is not just about memorizing a few surahs of the Holy Quran. You can memorize surahs at home. You can teach your children how to memorize the Quran. Did the Prophet ﷺ tell me one verse where the Prophet ﷺ said that it's compulsory for you to memorize the Quran? He didn't say that. Yes, he said that whoever memorizes the Quran, their parents will be presented with a crown. But the Quran tells us to contemplate on the Quran, not to memorize. Because memorizing also becomes ritualistic in a sense. And it has become ritualistic. What's the point if someone just memorizes but there's no beauty in his recitation? There has to be beauty in the recitation. Because just by memory, even if you have the best memory of the Holy Quran, but your recitation is not correct, what difference does it make? The Prophet ﷺ, to the extent he said, وَلِيَؤُمَّكُمْ خُرَّاءَكُمْ, that the power and the status of the one who has perfection in the recitation, the Prophet ﷺ said, he should be your imam, the one who is your qurra, the ones who are specialists in recitation. They should lead the prayers. Why should they lead the prayers? Because they have that ability to basically inculcate love in the hearts of the people through the beautiful recitation that Allah Ta'ala has blessed them with, and through the art that they have manifested, and through the art that they have gained, and the knowledge of the art that they have acquired, and the beauty that they have acquired through that recitation. So more than ever now, my brothers and sisters, we need to do lots of work. We need to do lots and lots of work in the field of Islamic art. Lots and lots of work in the field of Islamic art. And we need to start from our children. I need to start from my own children. And it starts from even controlling what is being watched on the TV. It starts from controlling what I listen to on the radio, what I listen to in my car. These things are very important. It's very, very important. It also means that I control what I read. So if I don't read the Quran myself, why am I telling my child to become a hafiz of the Quran? Something wrong there, you know what I mean? But if I myself spend an hour or so after Fajr reciting the Quran and I'm reading, then I can say to my son, let's read together, come. I listen to you, you listen to me, I listen to you. But when I'm not interested, why do I want my child to be interested? How do I expect him to be interested by himself? So, it's obviously we need to work on our children, but we need to work on ourselves. And the month of Ramadan really is an opportunity to work on ourselves. It's an opportunity for us to work on ourselves. And let me just tell you something. Alhamdulillah, I've been teaching the Quran for many years now. Close to a decade now, both in the UK and here. And I'm going to say this very, very sadly, but very, very openly. That when it comes to providing our children the knowledge of being able to recite the Quran beautifully, you know, we become so spectacle and so stingy, and you know, sometimes someone is not even able to drive. There are some people I know, they drive hours to go to a teacher, illa masha'Allah. But generally, you know, there is no concept of having the right attitude, my brothers and sisters. And we expect our children, you know, just by themselves to become qurra and to become, you know, scholars of the Holy Quran. We need to change our attitudes, my brothers and sisters. There needs to be some seriousness. And the seriousness has to start with yourself. If you're a leader, if the leader of the home is not serious, if the leader is not serious, then how do you expect the team to be serious? If the leader is not serious, how is the team going to be serious? So at home we're all leaders, and if we're not serious, how do we expect our families to be serious? And sometimes you see the attitude of people coming, and you know, I remember I was teaching a kid, and his father, mashallah, was a hafiz of the Quran, and you know, I was trying to discipline him, and I said that, you know, you don't come to my class without having practiced your recitation. And if you come without practice, I'm not going to listen to you. We try to instill discipline, that's the whole point. I mean, the problem is, this is the problem. Those who do not be disciplined in their homes, teachers can't discipline them. Those who can't be disciplined at home, who are not disciplined at home, how can teachers discipline them? Because if one is not disciplined in the home, that shows that you did not want to discipline your child. And how do you expect someone else to discipline that child? Then you have complaints coming that, oh, can you go easy on my child, all these excuses and this kind of thing. And then you look at the attitude, and that the same father now wants his child to become a hafiz, and he's saying to me, his recitation is not good, and I say, well, how much time are you giving to him? What is your attitude in the home? How much are you motivating and inspiring your own child, my brothers and sisters? You know, for the worldly sciences, we say to our children, if you do well in this subject, we'll give you this, we'll go on holiday, we'll do this, we'll do that. How many of us say to our children that if you do well in the Quran, I'll give you a gift. I'll take you out, we'll go here, we'll go on a holiday, this and that. How many of us naturally and seriously and genuinely motivate our children to actually learn the Quran, to learn how to sing praises of the Prophet ﷺ? There are some people, may Allah bless you, I see some people, but how many of us really do that? Because we should all be doing that, shouldn't we? You know, if you think those people, if you look at myself, or generally, if you think those people now who are teaching and the Quran, who are leading the Taraweeh and these kind of things, it was because of the motivation of our parents, the inspiration. It's because they used to say to us that if you do well, we'll give you this. It was that motivation, the seriousness, that genuinity, the fikr, the concern that they had. But do we have that concern? Yes, we all want our children to be professionals. We all want, who doesn't want their child to be a lawyer or a physician or a pilot or these? We all want these things, my brothers and sisters. But what harm is it if our children also is able to master the articulation of beautifully reciting the Quran? I mean, that's going to benefit you in your grave. That's going to benefit us in our graves. That's the biggest sadaqah jariyah that we can do. So we need to work on really purifying the attitude and rectifying the attitude, my brothers and sisters. It's very, very important. This is the month of the Quran. This is the month of the Quran And in this month we should all renew our commitment, our pledge of holding on to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's very, very, very important. We have to hold on to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we hold on to the book in a way that even when Ramadan finishes, we still are holding on to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if we don't hold on to the Quran in Ramadan, how do we expect to hold on to the Quran outside of Ramadan? And that's why we have the Taraweeh. Because it symbolizes the whole theme of the month of Ramadan. So that when we're standing in the Taraweeh, we shouldn't be saying in our minds that when is he going to finish? I have to go home. In fact, we should want to continue to stand and listen to the book of Allah Ta'ala. We should be trying to understand the book of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So coming back to the point, my brothers and sisters, the time has come now where academically we have to be able, we have to actually do lots of work in promoting the faculty of arts within Islam. Because this is a very important faculty. It's a very, very, very important faculty. To the extent where my brothers and sisters, the reality is that, you know, there used to be a vogue, there used to be a taste and a love for knowledge and speeches back in the days. But the challenge that we're going to have with our children and our future generations is where if we don't work on the faculty of arts, because there's no more interest, there's hardly an interest in the sciences of Islam now per se, the sciences of tafsir and hadith and all these things and usul. But if we don't now work on the faculty of arts, we're going to really lose lots and lots of young Muslims. Because the only way to keep them in is through the faculty of arts. You know, there are Muslims, there are some Muslims that, for some of them, the only Islam that they encounter is listening to Sami Yusuf, or listening to Mahir Zain, or listening to Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. There are some people who became Muslim by listening to these artists. So by killing these artists, we're not really contributing to Islam. In fact, we need to now work on the faculty of arts. We now, alhamdulillah, we have homegrown artists, but we need to now produce more homegrown Canadian Muslim artists. I want my son to be a Muslim Canadian artist. Because if you're a Qari, if you're a reciter of the Quran, I'm an artist. Hafiz Saab is an artist. If you want to kill us as well, kill us then. Who's going to recite Tarawih then? I'm just saying, but we're living in time. I'm just saying this because these people, these extremists, because they're everywhere, you know, and they get paid to do these things, they have a problem with artistry, because artistry reflects beauty. So we need to tell them that whoever, even an imam who recites the Quran beautifully is an artist. So there's, you know, the problem is there's not a problem with the term artist. There's not a problem with that term. The problem is in the confusion and the intellectual terrorism and the brainwashing of the masses. The brainwashing of the masses. I remember one day we were doing some dhikr and I was reciting La ilaha illallah in a tune. And some people came, this brother came, he came in the gathering and he left. He said, Na'udhu billah, how can you recite in a tune? I said, okay, come. I said, have you been to Hajj? He goes, yes, I've been to Hajj. I said, okay, when you go to Hajj, you recite the talbiyah, how do you recite it? So he said, I said, okay, I'll tell you how you recite it. This is how you recite it. لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك. Did the Prophet ﷺ invent this tune? Did the Prophet ﷺ invent this tune? Did he? We have no sanad. Prove to me that the Quran or the authentic Sunnah invented this tune. You can't prove it. Now, but what I can prove is that this tune is not against the Quran or authentic Sunnah. This tune beautifies the whole concept of talbiyah. Because if I recite like this, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, the whole ummah will go to sleep, all the hajis will go to sleep. So the point is, this is artistry, this is Islamic artistry. There's nothing wrong in the tune. There's nothing wrong in the tune. What's wrong is the intellectual terrorism that someone has said, that these people are saying to the masses, that these tunes are not allowed, you're not allowed to do this is not allowed. The Prophet ﷺ, we have authentic hadith where the people from Habasha, they are playing their instruments, hadith in Nasai. And Sayyidina Umar is about to literally, Sayyidina Abu Bakr saw this, and he obviously didn't say much, but he felt a little bit agitated. Sayyidina Umar comes and he's about to literally snatch the instruments of these people. The Prophet ﷺ said, Umar, leave them. لِكُلِّ قَوْمٍ عِيدٌ وَهَذَا يَوْمُ عِيدُنَا. Every nation, every tribe has a way of celebration, has a mode of celebration, and this is their mode of celebration. They don't do it. If you think artistry is it's so negative and it's so bad, then what are you going to say that how did Mu'ayyinuddin Chishti how did he bring 9 million people to Islam? How many people from your group? In fact, you do nothing but destroy Muslims. And you have a problem with the beauty of it. This is artistry demonstrates the beauty of Islam. Artistry demonstrates the beauty of Islam. We need homegrown Canadian artists. The masajid now, obviously we are producing huffaz, and we need to produce more huffaz. We need to produce qurra. We need to produce qurra who recite in the 7 dialects, in the 10 dialects of the Holy Quran. We need to produce munshids who sing naats and who sing these beautiful things and the praise of Allah in English as well, who write in English. We need poets. We need all these things, my brothers and sisters. You know, when they target this whole faculty and the science of Islamic art, we need to rise as a nation, and we need to spend and we need to contribute in art. But now, after giving all this speech now, if I now say, and I'm not doing this, so don't get afraid, but I'm just saying, giving you an example. After saying all this now, and we say, yes, we need to contribute towards Islamic art. If I say to you, okay, let's all pitch in, and let's, gather a couple of $100,000, let's build a studio, let's build a proper faculty of arts. You'll say, let me go now, I'll come in the second Jumu'ah. Or now I think that I'll probably start, for some I'll be speaking in French. Because you see, we can give, it's true, we all agree that we need to now invest in Islamic art. But it's not going to happen by talk, my brothers and sisters. We need academies. We need academies of Islamic music. And if you're thinking I'm saying something wrong, what is included in Islamic music? The Quran, the anashid of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. My brothers and sisters, it's the reality. We need to produce Islamic Canadian artists. We need to now invest. We need to invest now more than ever. We just lost a school of Islamic art. We lost a school of Islamic art. The Sabri school, we lost the Sabri school of Islamic art. But many people don't even know that that was in fact a school of Islamic art. Because you only know if you really knew, if you know the whole industry, if you know how Amjad Sabri's fathers and forefathers, how they came and how they really, brought a unique school of Islamic music and a unique way of praising the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So more than ever now, my brothers and sisters, we need to invest in Islamic art. It's the month of Ramadan, and like I said, please maximize your time. We must be generous in this month. And it's a month where we need to be thinking about bringing changes into the world. And remember that changes can only come into the world after changes come within ourselves. तेरी खुदी में अगर इंक़िलाब हो पैदा, अजब नहीं कि ये 400 बदल जाए. So we need to instill revolutions in our hearts. We need to work from starting with myself and ourselves and our children. But my brothers and sisters, I leave you with that thought that we now more than ever, we need to highlight the beauty of Islam. With what happened in Orlando, with what happened just now in Pakistan, with what happens every single day throughout the world, we need to promote the positivity and the beauty and the artistry of Islam. May Allah all give us tawfiq. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala sayyidina wa mawlana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in bi rahmatika ya arhamar